Hello everybody and welcome to the Elite Dangerous live stream. This is the Road to Beta live stream, part one of a mini-series, if you will, of live streams leading up to the beta release. We're going to be inviting in developers such as the wonderful bearded one here to my left. We'll be inviting you, inviting developers in to talk about the stuff that we showed off in the newsletter on the previous week. And then hopefully talking through some forum questions and then also showing some sneak peeks at some video footage of the stuff that we showed in the newsletters as well. And revealing some exciting information and tidbits throughout as well. I think it should be a lot of fun. And what's more, like I said, it's a series. Tomorrow we have even more information with the with Friday's newsletter coming out. Oh yeah. So again, we have another one of these next week going even deeper into that as well. So greetings everybody, thank you for joining us here at Twitch. We thought we'd mix it up a little bit and just put this one on Twitch. The 20 minutes delay was nothing to do with editing at all. Let's move on. All right, so thank you. Michael Brookes, Executive Producer Michael Brookes. How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Your beard is looking splendid.
It's getting there.
Yeah.
Not quite long enough yet.
Yeah, how long, what's the longest it's ever been?
This is probably the longest it's been.
Oh really?
I used to have my hair a lot longer, but...
Yeah. That's good. Very nice. I'm jealous of a bearded man. So, yeah. Again, thank you all for joining us. Like I said, this update is super exciting. 2.1, the engineers is a really exciting update. There's so much going into it. We have those headline features like loot and crafting and the mission systems and those things that you can point out like that. But there are so many tiny little additions and extra things going in there that really make it probably the biggest. I don't want to say the biggest. One of the biggest.
It's up there.
It's up there. It's very cool. So hopefully you guys will enjoy the next hour with us learning all about this kind of stuff through Mike. But first of all, we've got some video stuff for you to show. So you might hear some clicking around from me with my mouse here when I grab the videos over. So do bear with us while we do that. But first of all, why don't we show off some of the bookmarks in action?
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. So like the
start off modest.
Start off modest with the bookmarks. Yeah. So you'll hear me clicking and editing on the fly. But here we go.
So I mean, obviously, with any big release, the focus tends to be on the big features and the big new content. But we're always taking feedback from fans and also from ourselves as to quality of life improvements for the game. And I think bookmarks is a good illustration of one of those things. Just makes traveling around the galaxy that a little bit easier. It's a nice and easy, simple, nice and simple system to use.
I think this video it does the explaining itself, as you can see. Somebody's just adding a bookmark nice and easily there, and Shinra Desra. I don't know if Shinra Desra has a good res site, but that's what the person has done. Right. In this one, good res site here. But I think it's just a good example of showing things off nicely.
Yeah, I think they just picked a very well-known system.
Yeah, Shinra Desra is going to be like everyone knows Shinra Desra. Does it actually have?
There's going to be a bit of news on Shinra Desra sometime soon. Yeah,
oh my God.
But I can't talk about it just yet.
No. But that's and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the kind of tidbit of information you're going to get throughout this stream.
Yeah,
hopefully
we keep you in the dark head, so you can't reveal any secrets.
It's true, you do. You lock me in the room. You only allow me out for these live streams. But hey. But yes, thank you everybody. Look at all these names in the chat. Do give some love to Michael Brookes here as well for taking his free time out to come and chat with you guys. I know you've been in the forums for quite a bit as well over these last few days, looking at some of the questions that have been coming in.
I'm always patrolling the forums, but I had a look in the live stream thread to pick out some questions. It was good to see people following your instructions and keeping their questions strictly to the topic.
Well, yeah, we did get a lot of questions about the engineers, and we will be going into that more information over the next couple of weeks and talking about that sort of thing. So you will have your chance to ask lots of questions about that, and some of this might touch on that.
So I've got one question that I pulled out because it's kind of pertinent.
Okay, cool, very good. Right, and I'm sure we'll get to those in just a little moment.
Yep.
For now, we have another video. This thing is full of videos. We have lots of videos for you tonight.
Yeah, just little peeks.
Bear with us while we bring these little peeks up.
Some of the bits that we've been talking about in the newsletter.
So the next one I have on my list is this this is super cool as well. So we obviously showed a picture of the regeneration sequence with the way that the beam is sort of green and glowing and things like that.
Are you changing the?
No, it says right.
order?
We've got that on there.
Yeah,
right at the top here.
That's next.
Oh god, yeah, we've got map states next. This is I'm breaking my own rules here.
Yeah.
My own list that I made. Yeah, let's show map states first. That's cool. What are we seeing here?
So I think one of the pieces of feedback that we had was that trying to find certain activities, especially things like war or whatever, can be quite tricky because you've got to go into the system map and have a look, see what the states the factions are in. So now at the galaxy map level, you've got a filter like you do for all the economies and government types, and you can see what the different states are. So if you're looking for war, you can click on the war filter and have a look, see what systems are at war. So all of the states are there, although anarchy shouldn't be because that's not a state, but never mind, we'll just pretend that didn't happen.
Okay, well, I mean, maybe the names. Again, that's another thing that I do want to talk about really quickly, is to mention that a lot of this is dev build. So a lot of this is subject to change. So I know that you guys will be poring over this stuff and talking about this stuff in lots of details, but do remember that it's all subject to change. I do like the fading sort of animation. Also, you can see some stuff in there, some sneaky little stuff there. And at one point, I think it shows a community goal on the map as well in the corner.
Yeah, I think they've seen that in a previous newsletter.
Oh, have they? There you go. Yeah,
they'll be all right.
Yeah, so that's all right. We're allowed to show that.
But yeah, I mean, it's all part of the push to make what's happening in the galactic simulation just that a little bit more visible. I mean, obviously, there's lots of people already sort of digging into it and have been. Yeah. And they've provided some incredible feedback. But for people just getting into the game, it's not quite so obvious. So it's just trying to provide a bit more information.
Yeah. So a lot of the stuff that going into 2.1, as well as those amazing headline features and stuff, is like you say, it's all that deep stuff that lets.
Yeah.
So
well, it's quite interesting when you see people's feedback and they go, "Oh, why didn't you just do it that way?" Yeah. Well, the problem is you have to come at these things in stages. Okay. So if we don't have all the base data to make all this work, then you can't layer things on top. Yeah. And I think missions are a good example of that. It's just we keep refining and keep adding new parts to it. And in this week's newsletter and next week's stream, we'll be going into that into more detail.
Very cool. So look out for that
it's
tomorrow.
All exciting stuff.
Yeah. How do you go about doing some? Like you say, it's all such a massive undertaking doing this, and I think that the changelog, an early version of the changelog I saw had like 600 plus entries on there, and it was just an outrageous amount of many little changes. How do you executive produce something on such a mass scale?
Oh, we have an amazing team of production team and leads, and they do all the hard work for me, basically.
You sit and come on the live streams with me. Yep. So as well, it's worth mentioning that I am actually recording this locally as well, so we are going to upload this to YouTube shortly afterwards as well, so this video on demand will still exist. And I've got to make sure that it actually works first. And also, all of this footage, all of the videos that we're showing today are going to go into a YouTube playlist, which as soon as we finish will be uploaded. So don't worry about going back over and then taking your videos. They will all actually just be there pretty much as soon as we finish today. So let's show some more cool stuff. I mean, we talked about the map states a little bit. Is there any more that you want to add about that sort of thing, about the states and about that use of information?
No, we've got some more coming in little bits in the newsletter. I think there's a couple of questions that touch on it here as well.
But
we're
as we
almost
know
at my first section of
we have to follow the sequence. We have to follow the sequence correctly.
Always follow the plan, or it turns to the disaster.
Like the first 20 minutes of this is. So we have the next one, and this is very cool. Obviously, we showed a picture of it, the regeneration. So this is the talk people through what these modifications are, and this is the actual part where we do sort of touch on loot and crafting a little bit.
Yeah, so I think this one was strangely, it caused a lot of discussion on the forums when this was first shown. So are you going to show the video?
Do you want me to show first? Like, this is taken directly from a VFX artist as well. They took this directly themselves. So
I think people would prefer to see the action rather than me
talking about it.
Yeah, so essentially what we have here is that you're transferring energy from your weapons into a wingman's shields. Yeah. So it does have some restrictions to it. So obviously you need to be winged up with them, but also the shield still has to be functional. If the shield's collapsed, then it won't help. So it's just one of the sort of special effects that you can get on when you have a modification applied. And obviously it's not just weapons, there's other modules that they can have them applied as well. But yeah, we're only kind of teasing this stuff at the moment, as we'll be doing a big dump on the actual engineers and the crafting. I think that's in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, fantastic. So obviously this is just showing the effect really of what it looks like. It probably isn't actually doing anything to the ship.
Yeah, I mean, the thing for me that I quite like is that it adds another sort of strategy that you can employ, especially if only if you're operating wings.
Yeah. I liked the Lawrence that you mentioned before about the idea that your signal has to be.
Well, you have to be winged up, otherwise you don't have the right coherence, encryption codes and so forth to
actually make
fit the shields. Otherwise, it's just another bit of energy hitting the shield.
Yeah, no, it's cool, very cool. Right, I mean, we have more of those to show as well. Later on, we have the other ones that we showed in the newsletter as well. And my personal favourite, is the one that we're going to show at the end. It's super cool, but we'll get to it.
Yeah, I think the VFX guys have had a lot of fun
with the force shell stuff. Is really, really cool.
So I think the other cool thing that they've done is not just the special effects, but now the visual effects for the weapons scale, depending on their power and energy and various other factors. So actually, you get different looking weapons depending on how good the weapon is.
Cool, very nice. So it is time on our list of things to cover.
Right.
It's time for questions from the forum with Michael Brookes.
Yep,
so you've gone through those forums and you've selected some questions because we want to make sure that the community know that we're listening to you. We want to talk to you and communicate all this great information to you about what's coming in the game. So after you.
Yep. So I pulled out some questions earlier from the thread. So we'll start with Commander Heisenberg be damned. I don't know if that's a reference to the principal or Breaking Bad.
It's Breaking Bad. Probably Breaking Bad.
But either way, so he says that the newsletter said that human-created points of interest will also not be encountered as far out from human space as they are at the moment. I think that that's pretty welcome, but are there going to be no POIs when far away from the bubble, or are we going to get different POIs if out exploring? So I think there's a couple of interesting things here. So obviously, finding T was probably a bit too excessive out in the black. Although it could be that an alien race drinks tea as well, so who knows. So obviously we scaled that back, and I think the human-made ones should now properly populate the space where you'd expect. Although, you still can find things out in the deep where people have travelled further.
And that I was showing this is what we showed off in the newsletter last week.
That's a crashed Diamondback, isn't it?
Yes.
Yep. So
this is all in-game shot as well. None of that has been doctored in any way. That's exactly how it looks, apart from the third-person camera, of course.
So this will kind of feature a little bit more as we progress with the missing. Is obviously people have gone missing, so we want them to be sort of things that tie into that. As for what other things you can find, well, I'm a little bit sworn to secrecy on that. Obviously, you can find natural POIs, but yeah, maybe
people should just
see what they find. Yeah, they usually stumble across these things. I mean, an interesting thing on here actually is part of the procedural generation. Yeah. So you think, I've set a really low value, but then of course you've got 400 billion worlds, and your small percentage isn't as small as you might think it is. So yep, it's been brought in.
Cool, excellent. No, good stuff. Another question, please.
Yep. So this next one is for, and I'm probably going to get this wrong, Imaraxis, and his question was: any news about points of interest in space, like the Antares wreck ship, with maybe CQC assets? So longer term plan is still to look at using the CQC style structures and bringing them into the main game. That's not part of 2.1. However, we've already been using fairly specialised USSs in space for telling bits of the story. So as the example here is Antares, and we definitely want to be doing more of that. We have a whole bunch lined up for various storylines. Yeah. And also the USS is again a bit of a revamp anyway, as part of 2.1.
Very cool. Yeah, this stuff is, like you say, constantly being iterated on, constantly being worked on to make it a great experience, no matter what you choose to do in the game. You know, every single aspect of it. And I think that's what 2.1 really, really does sort of shine.
So,
one more question?
I've got one more question for this section, and it's from Alex Turner.
You're so well behaved today.
Yeah, I try and stay on track.
It's very producer-like of you to be like, got to stay on track with the meeting notes.
Herding cats sometimes. Yeah. So, scanning a nav beacon will give commanders the expiration data for a system if they don't already have it. Right. Does this mean that we no longer need to carry a discovery scanner in order to get the data for systems with nav beacons? Yes. Yes, it means exactly that. Okay. We're within populated space. So, nav beacons have always been a bit of an interesting thing. We've always wanted to do more with them. And having that sort of knowledge base of what's going on in the system, the nav beacons are quite a natural point to get that information. It doesn't supplant the ability to buy exploration data. You can still do that. So if you go into a system and you want to get some information in advance, then you can do that. But also, I mean, I always have a discovery scanner on me because you never know we're going to dip into a world that doesn't have a population and therefore no nav beacon.
I have the natural, because I have it set to on the gamepad to left trigger, of course. Yeah. So every single time I pop in, even if I haven't got a discovery scanner on, if I'm in a completely different ship, I'll always still hold L as soon as I go in because I have that natural sort of desire to do that as soon as I go in. Got to scan the area. So yeah, always carry on with you.
Yeah, don't have to, but it's just
pick up those extra credits, don't you? Yep. So. But if the place with nav beacons in, we'll just have the
it will give you the and also when you're if you're on a mission and looking for a salvage or assassination or whatever, then you can interrogate the nav beacon to gain information on where that it will take place. So you'll find out which body it's at, and then you'll need to go and search around the body to locate the.
So more on this tomorrow, or is that sort of touching on different things?
So there's a little bit of that in tomorrow's newsletter. I've talked about some of it already on various dev updates anyway. Yeah.
But there's so much, like you say, going into this that you probably can touch on a few little things here and there that aren't going to be covered in the next couple of weeks, and then the people are going to have to just discover that some stuff for themselves because there's just so much in there.
There's still plenty.
There's plenty of them to discover.
Okay.
That's what I want to hear. That's what I want to hear. Right. So, should we, everybody? Does anyone want to see another video? Let's ask the chat. Anybody in the chat? Do you want to see another little video?
What do we do if they say no?
If they say no, then we'll just panic.
Right. We just don't show the video and just natter for.
We just go and try and get. We can talk about something else if you want.
Yeah.
Your tattoo? How's your tattoo going? Is it good?
It's almost done.
It's very.
One more setting and it's done.
It's very large. Video. People seem to want videos. Yeah. Right.
No more videos.
What a surprise! Right. What a surprise! All right, cool. Let's get another one out there then. So you've seen the regeneration sequence. Let's just. It's such a tease right now. Show this one again.
Yeah.
But it does look nice, doesn't it? Let's see that again. Okay. Like I said, all of these videos will be uploaded to our YouTube channel in a specific playlist right at the end. So you don't need to spend too much time copying them or grabbing them right now. You don't need to do that. Don't worry about that. So let's bring in the first time ever seen in action, the huge multi-cannon. Why don't we show off that? It looks very nice.
Yeah, I think the multi-cannon is still my favourite weapon in game. With the huge one, there's just the devastation it causes is immense. Naturally, you need to strip the shields down first. Although, with the right modification.
Yeah.
So it's not quite got the same sort of rapid tat of the smaller ones, but even so, it's devastating.
Thud. Yeah.
It'll chew holes to bits.
See it again. Yeah, lots of engine noises and boosting around this one, so I'm sorry about that. But you can't hear quite, when you're in the cockpit, you can hear that.
So somebody, I didn't quite catch their name, was asking whether the new updates and the potential of increased FSD drive ranges make exploration too easy and mean that he can't get his name on a discovered planet. Yeah, we still haven't even done 0.01% of the galaxy yet, so I wouldn't worry about that too much. And you'd be surprised actually about how you can find non-discovered worlds,
quite
even
close by,
fairly close.
within I think 1,000, 2,000 light years at least.
Or even closer than that.
Yeah. That's where I do most of my. It's not true. I'm at Beagle Point. You know that.
The trick is to go to places that aren't that travelled.
Yeah.
So don't head straight towards a nebula.
Sort of up and sideways.
Yeah, up and down, but at a slight angle.
Yep.
And you need to try and make sure you use the economic routes rather than the quick routes.
Like that chap did for 11 months.
Yeah, if you do because you tend to do the shorter hops then, so you're going through more systems. It takes longer though.
So huge hard points. Just have you got any information on those huge hard points at all? Obviously, it looks very awesome.
They're huge.
They're huge. They're just a step up from the large. Can every ship have them? Just certain ships, obviously.
No. It's a size class.
It's a new size class, though, right? Isn't it? Or,
no, it's an existing one. Yeah. So the Federal Lance has one, and
but they've not previously been multi-cannons. There's never been. Right?
There's not been the multi-cannons.
And the beam lasers as well.
Beam lasers are new, yes.
Yes.
I think it was plasma accelerators were the one before.
Well, here we go, everybody. Beam laser.
And these, unlike the plasma accelerators, these had gimbal versions as well. Although obviously they're not as effective.
Both of these do.
Yeah.
So sorry about the sound there. We're picking up more of the engine than the actual gun, but they do sound awesome. I can promise you that. But yeah, that is the first time anyone's seen the huge beam laser. So I think that looks pretty awesome.
Well, I've seen it before.
Well, I mean, I've seen it too. I've been watching it. I've been looking at it all day. But yeah, people seem to like that. That's good to see. I'm glad you like that, guys. 111.
Yeah, beam lasers are an interesting choice.
Yeah. There you go. We'll leave that to play one more time through.
You like the beam laser, do you?
I do. I do. I'm a huge fan of the beam laser.
The heat management on them is always a bit interesting.
Well, I like the small, finer details, the stuff where you can see the actual, there's the heat building up on the other side as well.
Yeah, well, that's true with all weapons. From the very beginning.
I know it looks. I'm just reiterating that point. The detail's just lovely. Anyway, right, moving on. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, everyone, for letting me watch that video 3 times.
I think there's some.
Is it time for some more questions? I mean, we can take questions as well from the actual.
Yeah, I'm trying to keep an eye on, but it's kind of moving quite quickly.
Pause it like
that. The wonders of model technology. So I'll just keep my eye and see what comes up. But as I say, we picked some questions earlier, so let's do some more of these. So
questions from the chat.
Yes, we have Barking Mad, and he asks, as well as the graphical improvements to the ring systems, has any further work been done on planetary services? So actually, on the ring systems, we've done more than what we were talking about originally.
Okay.
So there's been some improvements, especially from the distance view as well as the close-up view. But for the planet surfaces, yes, we've implemented a whole new surface terrain system. Basically, the surface materials, so they've got higher resolution and are actually better performance, which is quite handy. Yeah. So good. Faster and nicer.
Faster and nicer.
Yeah. So I think
2 things that I always strive for.
Yeah, that's always the interesting thing when you implement, especially a complex system such as terrain generation and stuff like that, is you learn valuable lessons as you're going through it. And I don't think we ever sit on our laurels and just say, okay, well, that's just good enough. We're always looking to say, okay, well, we've learned this from it. Let's feed that back in and gain the improvement on it.
Very cool. Brilliant. Next question, please.
Next question. Okay, so this is from Sensei25. And he's asking about combat above the surface. Are enemy ships limited around bases to attack? The simple answer is no. Although you are more likely to encounter them near planetary ports and settlements.
The image we showed was near a settlement, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, you can approach. So those of you that like to strafe certain settlements will now likely encounter some sort of airborne defence as well as other things as well to make them just that a little bit more challenging. I think the rocket spam, we've got some ways of taking that on, so cool. That'll make them a bit more interesting to take on.
Bit of a challenge.
But yes, you can, as you're flying around, you can encounter ships travelling from one base to another. You also get the patrols from security forces if you're in a secure enough area. So that's something that we're looking to generally as well, is up the security response, but only in areas that have a high security rating.
Okay.
Well, obviously in the lower security ratings you might not get anything, or there'll be a longer display.
I like the guy on a Segway,
yeah,
the security officer on his own, like, "Oi, stop it!" shaking his fist at you.
He might take a bit longer to get there as well. Just going, "Oh yeah, I'm on my own." So
10 minutes later after you've left. Very cool.
One more, I think. So this one is from Martin, spelt in a very odd way. And so actually, yes, this is the exception, because I wanted to go into this a little bit. So in the beta for the release of Elite Dangerous, there were some cool weapon variants like overcharged, low heat, focused, high impact, which somehow disappeared upon release. Will the engineers' crafting options somehow reintroduce these variants, or will they be totally different? Okay, so the first thing on this is that those variants will now be completely disappearing. They won't be in game at all.
Okay.
So
what was the reason behind that?
Basically they're just no longer compatible.
Okay.
And the engineer crafting is much more effective, and is a better system for that kind of change.
More on that coming in the newsletter.
So they will no longer be in game at all.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go. Covered. Consider that point covered.
But you can do much better with the engineers.
Okay.
There's some very cool stuff.
There you go. You heard it here. Okay, so one more, or
no? I think we're good for that. I'll see if I can try and keep an eye on the.
I mean, is the security update for 1.6 also asks Tequila Sunrise? I suppose they mean also around. Is it just on the planet surfaces, or is it in space as well? That the
no, it's in space as well. So there's the whole. It's the normal traffic, so the same as in space, where you can follow them from a starport to their destination. You can do the same with planetary ports and so forth as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm not sure we're going to be talking on this information too much in the coming weeks, so just say coming weeks if you want to answer coming weeks. But Mazza asks about any words on the NPC flying prowess, so I'm assuming just NPC stuff.
So there's quite a large AI update for 1.6/2.1 engineers.
Very cool.
Obviously that doesn't just apply to the surface flying, although that's quite a big thing that we're very pleased to see. It certainly makes things
feel more alive,
a lot more interesting, right? Down up close. And dogfighting close to the surface is a little bit more interesting, and they're quite capable of doing so. Yeah, so be careful, especially if they're in a more manoeuvrable ship than you.
Okay. Good stuff.
Yes.
I mean, I already have to be very careful if they're in anything against me in combat, because I'm terrible at combat. I like this comment from Chaos Wolf. He says, "How about small plasma accelerators, Ed? Wink face." I think it's a bit of a flippant comment, but there you go. Any chance of this happening? I think I'm not sure what he's making a reference to. Small, anyway, it doesn't matter. So lots of questions here. Perhaps some stuff that you can maybe put to bed as well. I don't know.
So SRV types is something we're obviously quite keen to look into, but not for 2.1. We have some ideas as to where they're going, and they don't fit in. So one of the things that obviously we're trying to do is make sure that we bundle up with the major updates, that they all share something more thematically.
Okay. Cool.
So, yeah.
That's good. No,
as we add new gameplay, then we add the supporting content to go with that.
Fantastic. All right. So, and again, like I said, keep your eye out on the newsletter for any more information.
Oh, yes.
So let's show. We've got something else here, directly again from the VFX artist. This one is the thermal shock that we also showed off in the newsletter. Can you talk through what this sort of does?
Yeah. So actually, just before I do that, I just spotted somebody asking. It's all right. Let it play. I think people will
enjoy that rather than
figure
our
it
faces.
Out. That's fine. So somebody was asking about the performance on terrain on lower end machines or lower end graphics cards. So as I mentioned earlier, we've got a new surface material stuff, and that should help with that as well. It's a more optimized system, but also it delivers more detail at the same time, so better and quicker.
Cool. Okay, this one as well. What is this doing?
So this is the thermal shock.
Yeah.
Yep. So thermal shock is pretty much what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
It modulates the energy that it's outputting through the weapon to deliver more heat. So obviously
they can almost become sort of useless in some ways.
That can be quite a nasty
yeah.
weapon, especially if you get into the state where they're suffering heat damage anyway. It compounds that and makes that even worse. And then with some of the changes that are coming in with the other weapons, which you'll see in this week's newsletter actually.
Oh, cool.
You can fire some nice disabling shots as well.
Alexander Grape says, wasn't thermal shock a pulse laser? Did we show a pulse laser off on the newsletter?
Don't know, quite possibly.
Could have been.
It can. I think they can be applied to any energy weapon.
That's what I was getting at. Yeah. So it can be a pulse or a beam laser, which is cool.
Can it boil you up? Sure, it could. But I think any of the lasers would be able to do that anyway.
A question again, something that you don't worry if you can't answer it as well. If multiple people had multiple of these on you, would that increase the effect that it has against the?
Oh well, you take the effect from all of them. So
yeah, okay, cool. And yes, so also like the regeneration laser as well. That can also be. I've seen it in action. I've seen the pulse fire of it. Yeah. No, I've seen it. It looks really, really cool. Great. And let's 1 second, just to tidy things up so we don't overload this system.
So somebody's asking what sizes do they come in. So I'm not really going too much into engineers on this particular show, but it's not really the weapon itself. You don't like buy a super heated laser. You basically take the laser and you get it modified.
Cool.
So it can apply to different sizes.
Yeah, okay. Yep. That's very, very cool. Will the sizes affect? I mean, everything is. It kind of sounds like, and again, I don't want to go into too much information about it, but it sounds like there's going to be an incredible number of variants then on the things that can happen here. Yeah,
and it's something we keep adding to as well, and then that's kind of the idea is to have something that we can keep expanding on.
Very, very, very exciting. Do let Mike know in the chat if you're excited as much as I am about these experimental modifications.
Somebody's asking me why won't I love the Alliance back? Why would I love a bunch of scruffy hippies?
I mean, can't say that, mate. You've got to give love equally to all of the wonderful factions.
I'm an independent and proud of it. And the Alliance is just... They basically traitors to independence, I see it.
Cool. Yeah, people are very excited. I wanted to double check. I was just making sure that everyone was excited about this kind of stuff. Like I say, welcome. If you are just joining us, this is it's part 1 of the Countdown to Engineers beta. We are going to be doing a couple more of these at least on the lead up to the beta, which is really, really cool. And then hopefully further down the road we'll be able to show it actually in action. Yeah. Whisper that one. But I want to. I really want to. Cool, but I'm glad you're excited, guys. Thank you all very much for joining us. Good to see all the regulars.
And just so that we can save our topic, I can't pronounce his name, asking the same question over and over again.
Where's this guy?
It's this one here about Galaxy map with filtration. Yes, I would like that very much, but it's not in 2.1.
Okay, but
we're not talking beyond that yet.
It's on the extensive list, which is...
I've got a huge list of all the stuff that we want to do.
Talking about huge multi-cannons, well, I've got a huge list, just to deploy a huge list anyway. Bad joke. Right, so we've got another 3 questions from the forums from Mike.
Oh, okay, right. So, where was I? So this question is from Bliss. And they were asking... will the new ship AI be able to handle canyon flight on a planet's surface? Yes, I've seen them do just that. They will chase you down there, or you can even force them down there. But sometimes they're a little bit better than we are at it. So it obviously depends on the skill of the AI. I mean, that's one of the big things that some of the new AI code is doing is we've increased the ramp up at the higher end. So things, they probably haven't changed a great deal from the low to mid end, barring some of their odd behaviour. But certainly once you get to the upper ends, they become a lot more competent than they were before.
Cool, great. Good stuff.
Yep.
I've got a quick question in the end, which is very specific for not even on topic. Commander Flossie, greetings, Commander Flossie. Ed, please can I have my founder's decal? As a founder, she deserves this decal, by the way. I was under the impression that we added it to your account. I did it last week. There you go. Specific question over. Carry on with the real live stream.
Live support. That's what I like to see.
Always on.
So this one's from Arubeto.
So this is a question about the scanning of a nav beacon, which will give the commanders the exploration data for the system if you don't already have it. So he thinks this has led to some, or she, I'm not sure to be honest. I think this has led to some misunderstandings. Can you confirm that the exploration data acquired in this way cannot be sold, but only gives you the information about that system? Yes, it does. It cannot be sold. Basically, it works in the same way as if you'd bought the data. But obviously it's only local to that system. Yeah,
cool.
Simple as that. Was that 2 or
That's
3?
2. Yeah,
That's 2. Okay, one more. So 808. I wonder why the 808. What do we reckon?
Number of
whatever. Anyway, so about the new Galaxy Map filters. Since we will be able to filter for system states, boom, family war, etc., will these be having more effects on gameplay? I think it may have been mentioned during the trading live stream that the devs are considering giving states more of an impact on markets and the missions available. Is this the case for 2.1, and can you give a bit more detail if you do so? So the simple answer is yes. We're pushing the effects that states will have. So not only do they drive what missions are available, they'll also do things like if there's a famine, push the prices of food up, and but we're exaggerating those effects just to make them more. It'll also affect things like traffic in the system as well.
And what missions you were going to be able to get was.
Oh yes, it's part. So there's, and I mentioned it more, and I mentioned it previous in a dev update, but it's also in this week's newsletter. So there's a new
Spoilers.
Yeah. So there's a hierarchy in how missions are selected, and states are at the top of that hierarchy. So basically, they are the primary driver for what the factions are reacting or planning for.
Very cool. Yes. Excellent stuff. And somebody says that 808 is the either an electronic music group or a drum machine. Thank you very much for clearing it up. We've got like a live Google.
Well, I saw something earlier that said if you want to know something, what you do is you just post the wrong thing about it, and someone will quickly correct you.
Quickly correct what it is. So yeah, do we have any questions about live that we want answered here by the community?
What sort of question is that?
I don't know. It's a big question for 8 o'clock at night.
That's an invitation to all kinds of scary things.
It's true. Yeah.
Show them something exciting.
Show something exciting. I will. I look at my sheet quickly.
So Obsidian Ants has asked, will NPCs use these? I've heard that name.
Yeah, he's.
I know this. So it's fine. Suggesting. He asks if NPCs will use these modified weapons. Oh yes, they will.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yeah, I didn't know that. Right, here we go. So last week as well in the newsletter we showed some screens of we showed some images of the outfitting screens. Well, today we have a run through of those, which I think is a lovely looking thing. A nice slow example.
Indeed. So it's one of the, obviously with the new engineer changes, you need to better be able to have a look at what you can do with your various modules and weapons on the ship. We've always wanted to give this another bit of an update as well. So obviously there's some nice navigation improvements. You've now got the breadcrumbs along the top, bolder comparisons. So when you've got something equipped and then you're looking at the things, you can see all the pertinent data. One of the other changes is something that I think people have been asking for quite a bit, is to see all the stats for the different weapons and modules. So as you saw there, if you click on the read more, you'll get the full range of stats, and then you can see all the different bits for it.
And it also tells you what that means as well. I like that a lot on the right side.
So putting a bit more information there, although it's nested a little bit. Just.
Are you sure you want to purchase this item? I like that. The person who was recording this was like, just checking. But some of that information is needed. It's necessary.
But yeah, it's not quite finished there. There's some missing bits of information on there, but
it's important that this is a dev build. Remember, so it's not the final thing. So if there's any, don't pour through the information too much, because there might be some changes on there, and also they might not be completely accurate. So do bear that in mind. But this is I think one of the most interesting things about this. It's the comparison to what you previously bought.
Yeah. I quite like having the filters in there. I'm a bit lazy sometimes. It's just nice to go, right, I want a gimbaled one for this hard point mount, and you just
And you can click on the things at the top as well.
Well, yeah, the breadcrumbs just make navigation a bit easier.
That's cool.
And they do, and they work on controller as well as with mouse as well. So it's better navigation. It's better layout. I think it's just, again, it's one of those sort of quality of life things that just makes things bring in. So somebody's saying a loss on module sales. Did that sneak in? No. It's always been a loss. If you buy a more expensive module than the one you had fitted, then yes, it costs you money.
So how can we? Where was filters? Did you say as well?
So
do you see it on there in the video?
Yeah, it's when you click on you're inside the hard point, you get the list of what's available.
Okay.
And it will pop on the left-hand side.
Okay, so once he's selected whatever he selects, pulse lasers.
And whoever it was commented on the forums the other day that
filter at the top,
we have, and of course you've got the various sorting as well, so you can go through which ones are more expensive, which ones are more powerful. Yes, somebody on the forums going, oh, is it thermic or is it thermal? It's thermal, and everything's thermal now.
Is that right?
I went through the text today and made sure it was.
So it was always supposed to be thermal?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think somebody decided that thermic sounds cool.
Yep. Well, I mean, it does, but it's not right?
No, let's just go with thermal.
He's shaking his head. Right, cool. So that's that. And remember, guys, we are going to be uploading these clips straight onto YouTube in a playlist, so you don't need to spend any time downloading them yourself or whatever. So just look there straight afterwards. And also this video on demand will be available in case you miss any information from Mr. Brookes over here. Talking of information from Mr. Brookes, do we have any more questions?
We do, yes. So
more questions from the forums, and then we'll answer some directly from the chat here. And then we have a giveaway that we're going to do as well, which is very cool, and a very cool video as well of my favourite effect that we've shown so far.
Okay. I think I know which one that is.
Yes.
All right. So the next question, unfortunately, I kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but it's from Dark Matter Generator. And he was asking that scanning a nav beacon will give commanders the expiration data for the system if you don't already have it. How does this decision arrive? What is the gameplay and design thought behind it? Since it really changes the basic function in the game for 1.5 years of play. So the simple answer is that there's always been a need to do something with the nav beacons. Yeah. I think one of the things we're constantly doing is not just adding big stuff, it's filling in some of the smaller gaps as well. Yep. I mean, why is there a nav beacon in the system? Well, that's actually one of its reasons, is to provide the information that you need to navigate around the system.
Yeah,
it's one of its core functions.
I thought it was just where you found pirates.
Well, that helps as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just finding that it's filling in those blanks, and that's something you always do. And there's always this sort of huge canvas of what you're trying to do, and you're sort of putting in large amounts of detail, but then you're thinking, well, you know, that fits in there, so we want to do that. So yeah,
because the canvas is certainly there. It's like,
huge.
It's
there's lots to do with it.
That's going into it with 2.1. I think is a good example of how you guys are really supporting that sort of depth, and I think it's great. Yeah, well done.
I'm pleased you're pleased.
Yeah, I'm pleased. Everybody else, is everybody else pleased? Let us know if you're pleased. Please be pleased. Yeah, another question while we're waiting for
okay, yep. So the next one is from Dana. Which ships exactly will be getting the drives upgrade? Does this mean FSD or thrusters? This is your normal drives, so your thrusters. And it's basically, let me get this right, just make sure I have not misremembered it. It's for sizes 2 and 3. Or is it 1 and 2? 2 and 3, I think, but yeah. But they fit those slots. They have very much enhanced performance. We may need to tweak it a little bit because we were having sidewinders at some ridiculous speed with it. But cool. Yeah, I think they're a lot of fun. I think there's something we want to do more with the game anyways. But the smaller ships are just a lot of fun to play in. So giving them some advantages that fit their actual roles. The sort of sidey can be good for doing small precious deliveries, that kind of thing, or blockade running or whatever. And having that extra bit of speed can help. And plus, racing with more speed, always good fun.
Yeah, there was a post out there saying about people, it was people replying to the forum thread, not the forum thread, the newsletter thread on Reddit. And they were like, elite racers are going to love this, and they were just so excited about it. So I think it's cool.
Yeah, I think it's great. You know, the other smaller ships benefit as well. So somebody, and sorry I didn't quite catch the name, was asking about will they be expensive? So we're still looking at the price on them, but I don't want them to be tremendously expensive. I mean, you're probably talking in the low millions, but
Okay.
we'll
Not
have
too
a-
expensive,
yeah,
just the casual low millions.
well, it's the ultimate upgrade for that ship.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay. Very cool.
And it
Good
is
to hear.
very cool.
Yeah, nice one. So we will answer some more questions from the chat in just a bit. How many more questions have you? Well, you don't have to say how many you've got, but how much time do you think you have for any more questions here written down?
So
Come
I
on.
have.
Maybe
Oh, hold on, can't count. I think that might have been it.
there might be a new.
Oh no. Ooh, somebody's got in
Have
with
you-
2, and that's confused me.
Have you?
Yes,
have you left
that's
your other pages
confused
in
me.
the notes?
Oh.
Okay. He's
No, I've got a
confused.
couple left. So one more session.
Okay, we'll
Yeah,
do
but
well.
somebody managed to get on my list with 2 questions. Oof.
Well, let's do a season pass giveaway. Oh, I've rumbled what I was going to do. Okay, so just in case anybody doesn't have the season pass already, we are going to be giving away.
Can I have a
the
season
Horizon
pass?
Season pass? No, you can't. They are for the community only. But what phrase? And this is spraying it on you a little bit. So I'm sorry. So I'll drag it out as long as possible. Would you like the chat to say, so then I can pick at random someone from the chat who said it? So what would you like them to all say in the chat? And if you've already got a season pass, but you're waiting for somebody else, you've got a friend, you can gift that season pass basically. Yes, if you don't. So, have you thought of a phrase at all that you want people to say?
Sandy. No, we'll leave Sandy alone. Sidewinders are the king of ships.
Sidewinders are the king of ships. So put that in the chat, and then in just a moment I will pick from one of those. While we're letting people say that, though, it is actually probably a good time to answer those final 2 questions, because we've got another little bit of a video for you as well, and we're going to answer some questions from the chat. But first of all, why don't we polish off those questions?
Okay, so the final 2 questions. So 808 manages to sneak in with another question. I thought I'd kept an eye out for that.
That crafty guy.
But never mind. Will the AI ships near the surface apply to the full range of low and high G bodies?
Mm-hmm.
I imagine it may have been tricky to get them to behave under high G. Yeah, they're very wary, and they won't even attempt some of the really high G worlds because they just crash and die.
It's good to not, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah, so
Whereas,
I think it's nice to have players can have a little advantage, although quite a lot of players also have the same problem with low G. And it also varies depending on the ships as well. Some ships can handle it better than others.
Cool.
So
Stop
yes.
saying Sidewinders are the kings of ships. Stop that. Stop it now, and then I'll pick somebody at random in just a moment. So,
So Dave G, this is the final one from the forums. So within the new mission system, will there be changes to support Navy missions for the players who are focused on naval progression? Also, will mission successes result in the introduction to other missions or mission givers? So again, this is something we're going into in a bit more detail in the newsletter, and also I've covered it in previous dev updates as well. So the Navy missions, not really. That's something I really want to see a more fundamental revamp on. I mean, for me, I think the idea that you can have more of a career with the military rather than a series of missions. So I think really the idea is that we'll live with it for now, but we want to do something a bit more fundamental to it. And will mission successes result in the introduction to other missions or mission givers? Definitely. Basically, the idea is that you develop a relationship with these new mission giver characters, and as you increase up the ranks and build your reputation with them, you start dealing with more and more important. They have the concept of ranks also within their structure, and as you become more important, you deal with more important people. However, they also have the idea of social standing as well.
Cool.
So if they outrank you, they can be a bit snooty.
Snooty to you. Outrank you in terms of their
Social status compared to yours. Yeah.
Okay, so not your
So
elite ranking.
So no, yeah, we use the Pilots Federation ranking as a balance for that.
Okay, but you will be talked down to by like a baron, for
Yeah,
example. We'll
but
talk
not
down
if
to
you're elite. Everyone will talk up to
everyone loves you.
Yeah.
Make it to elite, guys. All right. So on that note, I did say stop saying that. Have you stopped saying it yet? I mean, we all know.
No.
Look, everyone thinks that Sidewinders are the king of ships.
Being semi-humorous with some of the
Well,
wordplay.
we've stopped, and after we stopped, I picked the winner, and at random, I control and F'd, and did the control. I've controlled and F'd everywhere. He's a hard audience. This guy, he's a hard audience. Jankster. Commander Jankster, Jankster. You are the winner of the Horizon Season Pass. Send us a PM on Twitch on this channel with your username Jankster. You have to find the way to send this messages. I don't use Twitch that often, so you're going to have to work out how to do that yourself, but we will receive that message from you on our Twitch account, and I will reply to you tomorrow to sort out your email address and get that over to you. That'd be fantastic. So we will have more of these giveaways on next week's live stream as well, so don't worry if you didn't win. Congratulations to Jankster.
To the winner.
So everybody,
it should have been me though.
Pardon?
It should have been me though.
Well, maybe next time, Mike. Did you write in the thing?
I didn't, but
well, then you
I
didn't even
have
enter. So we've got
one last video.
We've got one last video. Let's just show it. It's my favourite thing that we're showing. And let me state again that these live streams are part of a series where we're building up towards the beta. So we're going to be doing this again next week with more videos as well for you, and sort of more sneak peeks from hopefully some additional sneak peeks as well on top of those, like video footage of what we've shown screenshot wise in the newsletter and stuff. But as we go along, hopefully that'll build to even more gameplay moments for you to see, and more information from developers like Mike.
There's something very cool in this week's that hasn't even been hinted at yet.
At all. There you go. That's tomorrow as well. So look out for your inboxes, email inboxes. It's coming to you in your emails. You will receive the newsletter tomorrow. I can't promise you what time because it could take me all day to write it.
Question that I just want to confirm. So Osric 42, can you confirm that the control option screen will also be getting a revamp? So yes. So basically it's all in collapsible sections now, so it's just much easier to navigate.
Excellent.
And Xbox players are getting hugely extended options. We're bringing a lot of the control options across, so they can set their controls up a lot more.
We actually did a live stream about the Xbox One yesterday on Tuesday with Gary Richards, the senior producer on the Xbox One. So do check that out. It is on our YouTube channel, so you can see it there. And before I put this last video on, which is very, very cool, it's another one of the modifications, the experimental modifications that we have shown last week. But this one it's just cool. It's just good fun. So we decided to make a little, he's played out for, there you go, a little montage of how the different ships will be affected by the Force Shell experimental modifications.
So, as you can see, it's quite effective against the smaller ships. Although the ones that bulk up a bit and have the mass, they're able to resist it a bit more than, except for this poor fella.
In his whole, I think it's an absolutely awesome effect. It just knocks him for 6. I'm putting this on loop again. My favourite thing, like the Sidewinder straight away. Watch this, boom. Just gets, you can see the twisting in its entrails as well as its sorry, carry on, Mike.
No, that's all right. I'm just listening to you.
My favourite bit of this video, and I've watched this a few times, so I really like it. And I just look like those, so you can see on the Python, it's just nudging it around. This guy, Lord Reginald von Bartlesby, he does not know what's coming. But then he immediately, if you watch this again, which is really quite funny. But can you? You
do know that people are going to be hunting you throughout the galaxy doing this to you.
Yeah, I do. I know it's going to happen. But watch Lord Reginald von Bartlesby. He says, "I've contacted the police," like just before he gets hit. Just watch in the corner. You can see he's like, "I've contacted them. They'll be on their way very soon, the authorities." And then it's too late. He has been shotgunned in the back. You ready? Look at top left. I've called the police. They're on their way. It's too late. You are being pushed around by that thing. Anyway, there you go. So, like I said, we are going to be uploading that video and all the rest of the videos that you've seen tonight onto a YouTube playlist. So check that out. Also, this video on demand will be available if I can get it working, of course, because I'm going to save it and then upload it manually to YouTube straight away as soon as it is finished. So you'll see that on there probably sometime tomorrow in case you've missed anything from the wonderful Michael Brookes. So thank you everybody in the chat for being there. I hope you enjoyed seeing the videos today. Like I said, we're going to have much more of this. Check out the newsletter tomorrow. The content will not stop coming, and there's so much in there that you won't even see over the Dex Fuchses because there's too much of that. And then when you finally get that changelog, your minds are going to be blown. You're going to have your Elite Dangerous official socks will be clean blown off. That's what I'm saying.
Excellent.
So everybody get excited for the next few weeks because it is going to be a big one. Thank you, Michael.
All right.
I hope that you'll come back again sometime soon.
I'm sure I will.
I think we've got some different guests coming up over the next couple of weeks, but maybe for when we launch it, you can come on and have a chat with these guys and stuff.
Let people see other people's faces and just mine.
Yeah, I'm mostly covered by beard. So we shave you one
All
day for
faces
charity.
should be covered by beard.
Or
Are you ever going to grow one?
well, look, I try. It just anyway. So we'll talk about this afterwards.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, everybody, and
Bye-bye.
we will see you very, very soon. And have a good one. See you soon. Bye. Goodbye.